I started out as a kind of traditional graphic designer for print and very quickly transitioned into the web. And I have been doing that now for quite a while. The last 2, 3 years, I've been looking also to transition to UX. So for all of you guys starting out, I feel your pain. It can be very difficult to kind of, even for me, where I do have a lot of experience in terms of all the UI and UX stuff. The field itself is so large and there's so much to learn and it's moving so fast. It definitely feels overwhelming at times. 2020 didn't help, but I know that in terms of the job market, I've never seen so many applications out there. I think once you guys can get your first position, because from what Liz has told me, most of you are kind of at that beginning stage. Once you guys get in there, the market is enormous. There are so many jobs posted, especially if you're in an area of high density like Toronto, Vancouver, Southern California. It's a busy market out there. So that's really great. So this is one of my first ones, as I said. So I will do my best here. Be patient with me, and hopefully we won't have any technical issues. I guess should we get right into it, Liz? Can I cast my screen yet?
Yes, you can do it. And
no, not yet.
Let me just hear. You can do it now.
Oh, there we go. Beautiful. Okay.
Okay.
So we are going to start with Kaio. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Great.
So please, everyone, just mute your mic, and maybe Kaio, you can open your mic so you can speak with the mic.
All right, so I get 30 seconds to talk about myself. Spotlight.
Yes.
First, thank you very much for doing this. Just gonna give you a little brief background. My background is pretty diverse. I started out many years ago in sales, then I moved to marketing, and I finished by doing business development. So I've been doing that for years. Just like many of you, I am fresh from the boot camp. My final presentation was last week.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my first attempt to showcase my work and how I can hopefully land my first UX job. Right now I'm applying for UX designer, product designer, and UX and UI designer. I'm not too sure where I'm gonna go exactly next. But I'm very attracted to motion design. Just not qualified yet. So that's going to be a long-term goal. On this portfolio review, please do not worry to hurt my feelings. Being brutal here is going to help him to get the next level. So thank you very much.
Sure thing. So is there anything in particular you want us to take a look at here, or you want me to take a look at?
Yes. So anything that pops to your eye, being good or not, but the overall feeling, the length of the case study, I would like to focus on the sway, the first one, the light blue that we have in there.
Okay.
Anything that pops to mind, the design itself, and I know it's tricky, but I'm trying to look like I have tons of experience. So anything that pops to mind that could give that message, it would be very, helpful.
Okay. All right. Well, right off the bat, I really like the look of your site. It's very clean. You get right to it. Great photo of yourself there. You've got your description here. You're a UX designer with a background in business, marketing. Clear, simple structure in terms of your links. And these are great shots. I'm just going to before we get into here, I'm just going to click around here and just take a look at some other stuff. Right now I love your typography. I love the large type. That's kind of one of my nitpicky things in terms of, I think a lot of websites make things too small in terms of type, because you never know who's reviewing your site, right? So this is very easy to read, very short and succinct, and I like your Siberian Husky. My kids would love that too. So let's go ahead and just click this. I really love your contact form. This is really unique. I've seen this before in the past where you readjust your form so that it's more of a conversational style. This is really great. I have never seen this before. on anyone's portfolio site. So I think this is a really great touch. It definitely adds some personality to your site and kind of decreases the formality. I find that when you're writing case studies, you write them in a certain language, which is not necessarily the way we communicate on a daily basis. So this is really nice. And also nice that you've got just an email there if someone wants to email you directly. So let's pop in here. Before we pop in, because I never see anyone do this, let's see how your site looks on mobile. And really clean again, a really good experience on mobile, at least right off the bat there. Very simple, very clean, awesome. Okay, so let's just pop into Sway. I like that little interaction you had there, the little increasing size. So, okay, Kyle, UX designer. So something I see right here, there is no menu functionality to get me back to your homepage if I needed to, or to your about or contact. So if I was in a study right here, I would love to see, your links up here, just so that if I do need to pop back, I can. Okay, and this is not live text. As a general rule, I kind of typically recommend not putting text in images because it can present issues in terms of your spiderability, as well as some usability issues. So let's see what happens when we go mobile. So you can see here, when we go mobile, you've done a good job here, and it keeps the correct size. It stays legible. But if someone has a really small platform, you can see that that's about 320, and it's going to get a little bit tight. So something I would suggest is taking a look and see if you can make this live text, just because it just resolves any of those issues in terms of it. On my display, also the text is a little bit fuzzy, but that's just me nitpicking. Just to give you some background, I am, primarily a visual designer in terms of a lot of my history. So I'm going to be coming at this from a lot of visual design stuff, and I'll try and kind of touch base in terms of the experiences that I've had as doing some hiring and what other hiring managers that I've talked to have mentioned. So this is great. Let's take a look here. Kind of iOS apps in a simple way. Timeline 10 weeks. Roll. This is awesome. I love this. This is great. So right here we have a quick overview of the app. You're imitating here a fairly modern device, so you've got one of the new iPhones with the notch. That's great. That's something that I've seen some other hiring managers comment on, making sure that your screenshots are placed on the device that they fit, and that device should be fairly modern and up to date, just so you don't end up dating yourself if you're using an older one. So this is clearly evoking a nice new modern iPhone. The one thing that I'd like to see here, and that I've seen a lot of other people comment on, is right off the bat, you've got a great overview of what everything, the tools you've done, the role, and your timeline. It would be great to know, I'm guessing you didn't do this as a team. This is an individual project, part of your boot camp? Yeah, okay. So if you are doing a real project, it's great to let people know, a hiring manager know whether this is, you don't have to indicate whether it's a self-directed project, but just a team would be great. So if you are working on a team, that's awesome. The other thing that I would suggest here, because this is such important space in terms of, we're going to be clicking through generally. I think a lot of hiring managers are going to be scrolling through this very quickly because they probably may have, 100, possibly even more applications to go through. They are probably whittling it down to about 20 applicants, I would guess. So you might want to put up here any results. So it can be kind of difficult when it's a self-directed project to show any results. But what you can do is you can do something like, you can do some testing, I suppose you could say. So something that I've done in the past with self-directed projects is I've literally just run a system usability survey, especially if I was doing I have one project that I'm working on where I'm doing a redesign of an existing app. So I'm able to take that and do a system usability survey on the existing app, get a baseline for what the user friendliness of the current app is, and then compare my redesign to that. And I'm able to use that in terms of a metric that I can present to a hiring manager or a recruiter or anything like that. So let's take a look here. Problem space.
We are halfway there, Mike.
Sorry?
7 minutes left.
7 minutes? Okay, so I'll go faster. Project constraints, this is great. It's nice to see that you've got this displayed here so that we can kind of understand that you are aware of some of the real world constraints that are there. Research, secondary research. So, problem space. Okay, great. All right, so timeline, no budget, yep, or low budget, that's very common. Research candidates. I like the graphic. This is great. It's informational. Oh, that's very nice. I like that a lot. So yeah, if you've got images, definitely set up a zoom or a lightbox method. That's great. Click away, goes away. Solution. Okay. This is great. I'm going to nitpick this. It'd be nice if this was centered in its box, but that is very nitpicky. Primary research. This is very balanced. Great. You've got your persona. That's awesome. Also clickable. Wonderful. Great. And user flow, user story, ideation, pen and paper. I like what you did here. I really like this, that where you took your scans or your photos and you put them in a nice clean box. At least it looks like it's a nice clean box. Nice. And actually, I do kind of like the irregularity of what you've done here. Kind of reinforces the roughness and the sketch look of it. Low fidelity prototype. Great. I like the overview of all the screens. That's great as well. And then user testing. You're testing the. So. Okay, I thought there was a little bit of a disconnect there in terms of showing your low fidelity for prototype versus the user testing, but I see that they are the same. I was worried that this was a little bit more detailed than this because I was focusing on this. What you might want to do here, just because my eyes went right to this and I thought this was a final design, you might want to grayscale out these logos just so that everything kind of reinforces that wireframe look, because I did have that little bit of a confusion for a moment where I thought that this was a final design because I was focusing on these colors here, and then this switching over to gray, I did have that kind of discontinuous effect of we going from a low fidelity or what felt like high fidelity mockup to a low fidelity mockup. High fidelity prototype. Oh, that's very cute. I like that. Okay, this I would like to see this be bigger if you can, just because you've got a lot of space here, and this is a little bit difficult to read and explore. So I would definitely make that a lot bigger if you can. I'm not sure how big my handle's at. I know I can click this to expand that, but someone can easily miss that little icon there. Oh, very cool. I like that little micro interaction there, that little micro animation. That was awesome. Okay, very cool. University, nice. Click through, whoops. Okay, continue. Great, all right, let's get out of there. So edited 22 days ago. This might come to bite you back in your butt. If you can get rid of this edited 22 days ago element, that would be great. Just because realistically, most of us don't update our portfolios as often as we should. That could end up being like edited 462 days ago, which will very rapidly age this. So if you can hide that, I would. Just out of curiosity, because let's take a look at that. So luckily that's a nice clean span. So if you just pop into your CSS and just find the specific class that this is targeting, you can just do a display none on that and hide that right away. But this is great. Nice big photos here. Ah, look at that, I can scroll them. Nice, you caught mine. I was just scrolling them on a lark. I didn't expect it to, so that's awesome. Great, I just noticed your zoom up. Color and typography, really great. Columns, grids. This is really great. I'm really liking this. You've got your brand. responsive, design impact on business, API, next steps, key learnings. So yeah, like I mentioned, whoa, okay, there's a problem right there. So I would take a look at what's causing that and resolve that. Oh, this is great too. You've got your contact here at the bottom and you've got links to your next 2 projects. So key learnings is great. So if key learnings are the only stat, right, for lack of a better word, that you can use, can you take this and bring this up here so that we can literally in one screen just get a broad 30-second overview of the project and then allow me or another person to get into in detail and get into the meat of the project. But broadly, the content looks great. The design is really well thought together. You've got great typography. It's very consistent. Yeah, no, this is really nice. Really nice work, man. Share this on. Okay. I don't really know if you need this. I might want to take this space, and if you feel comfortable with it, link it to your social media stuff as opposed to sharing it. I don't know whether people do use it, so this might be more helpful to be a link to your LinkedIn, a link to your Twitter, Behance, whatever like that. Whatever you feel comfortable with sharing. Definitely, I would recommend obviously LinkedIn. It's the given. Twitter, some people are comfortable with that or not, but yeah, I would think that would be make more value here. And then what happens when we could contact? That takes us there. Okay, great. So seeing as you're comfortable sharing your email, you might want to, and this isn't 100%, but you might want to make it so that people don't have to click away from this to contact you, either putting your email here or putting a smaller, more compact contact form on this page might be helpful. And just again, because I like to do that, let's take a look at this. Make sure that how this looks on mobile. Again, really great. Beautiful. You shrunk down your font size a little bit. So I would take a look at your mobile because some of this spacing is a little bit much, I think. And again, because I am picky about it, the space above and below a little bit, just make that consistent. Yeah, this is solid. Yeah, and so okay, on mobile we can't make it full screen, but that's fine because okay, yeah, that's fine. That's fine because these are already full width. Really quick scroll. Does this allow me to scroll still? Nice, very nice. That's a little tight there. Oh, that's so cool. Oh man, where'd that go? Oh, I would figure out a way that you can indicate this is scrollable. This was really cool. I did not expect that, and this is awesome. I'm going to have to ask you how you did this because this is something that I've wanted to do forever, and this is really nice. I really like that. But I would definitely, if you can add a little interaction here that lets people know that this is actually scrollable and they can see the site without visiting the site, that would be great. Oh, and of course, that's the one thing I realized I missed. If this site is visible, you don't have a link to it. So that might be something to be handy. Something that can happen in the real world, once we launch a site, sometimes it deviates from what is in our portfolio. So sometimes you don't want to link to it. But if this is a site that you do have somewhere and isn't out of sync, then having the link to the actual site there would be great too, just in case they want to get more in depth and actually interact with the site itself as opposed to the static. But that is great. I have never seen this, and I love that. That is really slick. Yeah, this is really great.
Time is over, Mike.
Okay.
Caio, do you have any final question before we very quickly?
Thank you very much for all those tips and the recommendations. And that's one thing that I took note that, I thought that people are missing that website. You're now scrolling it down and I'm trying to figure out why. And yeah, I just saw it here. I have to figure out a way. This was built at UX Folios. So they don't give us a lot of flexibility.
Oh, okay. So you're using third-party tool, UX Folios, is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I like their code. I took a look at the code earlier, and it's very clean, very, very clean. So that's great. And this site loaded pretty quickly. I'm just going to do one quick thing here because nerding. Whoops. Okay. All right. So that's great. That's awesome. Yeah. So do you have any? Oh, okay. So this is one thing I would suggest. 1800 pixels by 1300 pixels is way larger than you need. So and this kind of applies to everyone. We tend to export things out as pings by default. So think about what the image is and what format it is. So pings are great for this type of solid color use. And obviously, this would be a JPEG, but this is much bigger than it needs to be because the rendered dimensions of this are just 720. So really, if you want to go at 2x to be able to support a high DPI screen, really the max width of this should be 1400 pixels, just so you don't have to pump as much data through, and that'll make your site load faster and get you to that as close as you can to that magical 3-second response time.
By the way, this is recorded, so Kaya, you wanted to review this again, you can go to YouTube.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
All right, so let's go
Great.
ahead and yeah, beautiful site, Kai, really great.
Congratulations. Amazing.
Very nice.
Great.
Let's take
Awesome.
Everyone is MD Kayo now. Okay, next one.
All right, that's right. Sunil. Okay.
Sunil, are you there, Sunil? You can
Yes.
turn on your mic. Yes. Okay.
Awesome. Cool. First of all, I want to congratulate Kayo on really good website. Moving on to my background. So I have 7 years of experience in tech industry working as a business analyst or a customer success. And last year when I lost my job, I thought of transitioning to UX after doing some research and learning more about myself and my skills that I can transfer to this UX career. And that's when I thought of doing that. And I would like you to focus on my case study, which is on Circle Furniture.
Okay.
And I'm struggling with the organization of the content on the case study.
Okay.
And I have designed this website on Squarespace.
On Squarespace.
And and I'll be applying for UX strategy or UX generalist position.
Okay. All right. Whoop. Sorry, I just deleted your section here by accident. Let me get rid of this. Okay. So one thing I would say right off the bat, just because we did see the alt text there beforehand, I would take a look at this image and see if there's some optimization you can do with it. I'm not sure if it's a PNG or a JPEG, but if it is a PNG, I'm guessing it is because it took a little longer to load than I think it should have. This would probably be a JPEG because you're just on a solid background. Right off the bat, I really like you're talking about yourself, but I really like this. 7 years of work experience in the tech industry. So right off the bat, that's going to tell a recruiter that you're not coming into this without any experience. You may not necessarily have UX experience, but you do have experience in tech, and that gives you a lot of cross-transferable skills. You've obviously run through projects, you've had issues with projects, and so on and so forth. Let's just take a look at this. Okay. In terms of your typography, great, nice size, good photos. Trito, was it the Circle Furniture you wanted us to take a look at?
Yes.
Okay. Now, is this a real project or is this a bootcamp project?
So this one is through bootcamp, but Circle Furniture is a real company, which is a local business in Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Okay. All right. So one thing I can suggest here is right on your projects, because you do have some more copy. You do have some space here as well. You can take advantage of that to bring some of the content in the case study forward so that we can understand perhaps like what were the tasks you've accomplished here. So was it user flows and all that stuff? You've got some room here so you can add in, what you did, maybe the timeline, size of the team, stuff like that. It'll just kind of help someone inform themselves a little bit more about this before they click through the case study, and maybe entice them so they can categorize in their own mind which one they kind of want to click through to. Let's go ahead and go to the case study here. Okay, so redesigning surgical furniture's website challenge. Okay. So again, what I would suggest right up at the top here, you want to have an overview of what you did. So, user flow, whiteboarding, usability testing, card sorting, any kind of catch-all terms. Just because a lot of times the recruiters that are hiring for a position, and even the hiring managers, may not be UXers. It could be an HR person. So you want to try and catch the keywords that they've been told by the actual lead to search for. So if you can incorporate some of those keywords right at the top, it makes it simpler for them to kind of figure out if you fit what they're looking for. And again, as I mentioned with Kayo's, if you can get any sort of analytics or stats in terms of what's here, that's great to bring up. And if you don't have analytics, then you can run your own tests on it. Get some friends, which in the real world, you're going to skew the results, obviously, because they are friends, or solicit some people on Iterate and go from there. Okay, so it's 2, it's stores, okay. Is this a real company? I know it's a boot camp project, but is it a real company?
Yeah, it is a real company.
Okay, here it is. Okay, so I would bring this up, definitely, so that you use this a little bit there. This is great. Solo project, key tools, okay. My role, great. So this is great in terms of your role, but UX strategy is very broad, as is UX researcher. So if you can get into detail a little bit here, that would be great. And 2 weeks, solo project, awesome. I don't really know that you need the dimensions. It's not something that's really a concern. And I think it could hamstring you in the terms of displaying a hard dimensions. Makes me wonder, is this site responsive? Does he know responsive design? That's kind of my thinking as I see here. So I would probably get rid of this, just because nowadays, if you aren't building for responsive, it's just not, you can't do it, right? We have to always think of responsive. Even if we're developing an app that is wholly focused on desktop, you still need to kind of think of that. So I'd probably get rid of that. Quick link to a clickable prototype. Okay, so, okay. Oh, okay, I see. So that jumped me down. So you've got a link here to a clickable prototype, which takes me to a section, scrolls me down, and now I have to click to open the prototype again. So I would make that link direct. Don't make me work for it. And in terms of, I can't remember if it's Steve Krug's book, but don't make me think. And I had to think there a little bit. So this should just like take me directly to your XD prototype. And if you move this up, I'm touching my screen here. You can't see it, but I'm doing this. If you move this up, I would just make this a little bit smaller, just so that you can hopefully get your overview tucked in down low on the screen right here. Research. This is a little bit of an excessive chunk of space here. You want to balance it. So like as an easy rule, the white space you have above should be the white space you have below. Okay. So it looks like, now I'm going to go all typography nerd on you here. It looks like you've got 2 different font sizes here. I would just be because body and bullets should be the same level in hierarchy, they should be the same font size. Following on key insights. So that's a video. Okay. Great. Okay. If you can, that poster frame that you had there, that was a little bit blurry. So if you can see if it's possible to increase the quality of that, this is in Vimeo bet, so you probably can't. 14 clicks through to the final page. Okay. So I like these little divisors you have. This is really nice. It's a good little kind of a resting place. That's great. Okay. I like the fact that this is live text. That's awesome. I'm a fan of live text. So you've got font size issues here. This font size is slightly smaller than this font size. It looks like these two are the same size, and then this is slightly larger. So you definitely want to go through and take a look at that. If it is actually a UX designer who has any graphic design experience in his past, as so many of us are, we've transitioned, you know, they're going to notice that, and they're going to be worried in terms of your ability to catch details. So you want to make sure that your fonts are consistent throughout. You're using the same size for your headers. In terms of your SEO, you want to make sure, like, you know, if this is an H1, this is always an H1. If this is an H2, it's always an H2, and they're always the same size. Love designing. Oh, that's cute. I like the little quote for the persona. Very nice. And again, if you are, for everyone, I'm hoping this is probably a JPEG. I'm just going to take a real look. And Squarespace, you're cruel. You don't let me see. So just as an overall thing, something I do see, and I don't think that's happening here, but I have seen a lot of portfolios where everyone, because the design tools output by default to PNG, everyone outputs the PNG in very large PNGs. But because PNGs don't have a progressive display, what happens is, like we saw with Cayu's, he was loading an 1800 pixel image, which is actually wider than my monitor. And then it's being resized by the browser. So on a really large 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 meg pings I've seen, the ping will just load really slowly. So choose the right file type that you are using. Full tone images like this, photographs, always JPEGs. If you're using a more advanced platform that supports newer file types like WebP, then definitely enable that, because it'll further shrink it even more than a JPEG will. If you're talking about something like XD, you don't need to output JPEGs at 100% quality. I found that anywhere between 40 to 60% works really, really well, and the difference between the quality is generally indistinguishable. Unless it's a really detailed thing, you can kind of get away with that. It improves the quality and the performance of your site.
We have 5 minutes left.
All right,
Mike.
let's pick up the pace. Card sorted. Nice. Okay, so I can't click on this to zoom in. If I have any visibility issues, I'll have trouble reading this. So I would definitely make sure that you can open these up as Cayu's did in a light box or some other effect. Okay, I like your colors. Great, paper prototype, beautiful. Oh. Okay, so there's a little bit of inconsistency. You want to make sure that if anything that is kind of informational is clickable. If it's just like that picture of your persona, you don't need to make that obviously enlarged. Paper prototype to lo-fi prototype to hi-fi prototype. Okay, all right. I don't need know if you need. This is me really nitpicking here. I don't know if you need the word after here. It's kind of implied in terms of the arrows, what's happening. I would be careful what this does on mobile, because I don't know if you'd be able to keep your horizontal screen. So you might have to have like a little downward arrow that appears only on mobile. That's probably a little bit too much space, just to kind of tighten things up so I don't have to scroll quite as much. I like this animated here. This is really great. So this automatically, okay, you've got 2. Awesome. Awesome. This is really good. This gives me an overview of what the site looks like and how it interacts without me having to see it, and I can autoplay them. Okay. It doesn't really enlarge though. So, and I don't know if you need to tell me it's an autoplay GIF, because it's visible right away. It drew my eye. It did its job. Lo-fi prototype, hi-fi prototype. Okay, I see what you're doing. You're kind of going by features and low to hi-fi. Okay, I got that. Okay. What you might want to do, I would take a look at some other portfolios and see how they handle this, because I see what you're doing here, but that did start to confuse me. What I've seen most other portfolios in my experience, and if you do some research, this might not be the case, they tend to put the lo-fi together or sketches to wireframes to high fidelity. So this is great, but I did have some confusion there. I wasn't sure like what was happening with the flow. Great. Okay, you've got some stats there. That's awesome. Keep design improvements. Can you bring this out? This is important. So this is definitely right here that you could probably bring some elements of this up. Can you use a graphic to really draw your eye to this? Because this is definitely, you know, a key spec. This is very important. And if you can combine your stats that you have here with this, that would be great. Check out the latest hi-fi prototype. Okay, future development, retrospective. Great. Okay. So again, oh, you've got your link to your TV toe and contact 2021, your LinkedIn, your profile. Yeah. No, that looks really good. I think, yeah, this is generally a pretty decent portfolio. Yeah, I think you just need to kind of make sure that your for lack of above the fold or your hero area contains some information so that you have a little bit of an encapsulation where we bring these elements here up so that you can see that all on the page. How are we for time?
Perfect timing, Mike. You have
Okay.
1 minute left.
Okay.
So any other final questions from Sunil?
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, Mike, for giving me so many insights. And I mean, I definitely need to kind of like look through how the fonts have been, how the headers and paragraphs have been used for the font. Yeah, definitely. I was, as I said, like I'm confused with the organization of the content.
Mm-hmm.
I'll definitely look at that. Can you also just quickly look at the About Me section and
Sure.
give me quick feedback?
Sure. So here's what I was referring to earlier. I didn't realize this was a single image. So
Okay.
what you would probably want to do here is break them out into 3 columns so that when we go to mobile, they're going to stack on top of each other. And then you can show a different icon, because when I click through this, I still can't tell what's going on there. And I think depending on the hiring manager, they may or may not access your site on mobile. So you definitely want to make sure that the mobile experience is decent. If you're taking a look at the analytics on your site and everyone that's hitting your site is like 90% desktop, then you can dial back on that, but you do want to make sure that it is fairly usable.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Okay. So I'm wondering, your father worked as a paint specialist at Godrej and Boyce. I'm wondering why you're linking to that. It doesn't have any focus in terms of what you want to do. It's great that you mention it, but you don't want to offer people escapes, right? So as a general rule, if they're clicking off to your website, it's clicking off to go take a look at a prototype or your social media, where basically we create a funnel that if someone hits your site, the only place they're going to go is you. Just like, you know, an e-commerce site, they don't let you escape the site from a landing page. So I would do the same thing there. I would probably not link to anything that isn't you. 7 years. Okay, great. On a variety of projects. Okay. Business analyst. Okay, so you talk about that you've been here for 7 years. You've got 7 years on a variety of projects. What are those projects? I would definitely take a look at incorporating what to Ned. Nice. I just got. Sorry, I read the caption there. I would definitely take a look at talking a little bit about some of the work that you've done that you can translate into UX. So anything in regards to obviously things that's universal, like project management, research, and so on and so forth. Okay. Oh, you've been to Portugal. Awesome. I'm Portuguese, so lovely. Awesome. Yeah, okay. This one, okay, your resume, I lost that. So I would definitely, might even consider moving it up into the header here. Let's take a quick look at that. Oh, nice. You built one. Nice. This is not something you see very often, an actual HTML resume. I like that. Okay, that's great. It's a little light on the content. Let's take a look at your PDF real quick. Okay. So yeah, your content that you have on your print resume is significantly more than the copy you have in your resume here. So you might want to take a look at if you can, I guess this is kind of an overview. Yeah, I guess you're all right. I guess you're right. But you maybe take a look if you can expand on this a little bit, just to have some of this information inside of your full resume that you have here. But yeah, your resume looks good too. Grubhub, oh, that's great. So you've got, okay. So you've got like Grubhub alone, that's great. So you've got a fairly well-known tech company on your resume. So definitely bring that forward. Absolutely. Like in here, 7 years on a variety of projects for Grubhub, for so on and so on. Just so that, again, you can be, when you're hiring, it's unfortunate, especially for people who are transitioning, but you're looking for a square block to go in a square hole. And for anyone that is maybe a circle going in a square hole, or even like a rounded corner, like, you have to show your transferable skills. So definitely the mere fact that you mentioned Grubhub is automatically going to tick something because it is so well known, and you definitely want to talk that about here. Broadly, this is a lot of copy for an about us, and it's more than I've seen typically. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad. It's different, so it caught my eye. And I don't really have an opinion in terms of whether you should get rid of it or not. It's just different. So that could work for some hiring managers. It might not work for others. So definitely I would take a look. If you can reach out to some other hiring managers, get some more feedback on this, that would be great. And on your site as a whole.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. Now we need to jump to the last one.
All right.
With
And
Cheta.
Congratulations for your first portfolio review as a UX designer. Good job.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys.
Okay.
Okay, so should
Okay.
I start with my introduction?
Yes.
Yeah.
Really quickly.
Okay, so I just finished my master's degree in ACI from Simon Fraser University in Vancouver. And so I have a pretty strong background about research from my academic and my paper publications. And I have also taught multiple design courses for 2 years, like information design, interface design, digital image design. So where I basically taught like A to Z about the design process, how they can create a final website from sketches to sitemap to low fidelity. And I also taught various kinds of design tools like Excel, Figma, Origami Studio, like tons of design tools I have taught. So I would say like I have a pretty much strong coding skill also from my computer science background. So that's why I coded my portfolio website.
Nice.
And also I have a strong research background, obviously from my master's publication and research. And also this, I also have like a pretty strong like overall knowledge about all the design tools and everything about the UX design, since I was teaching UX design for the last 2 years. And I'm actively looking for the UX designer's job now, and mostly in Vancouver and mostly inside Canada.
Okay. Okay. So this is great. I really like this here. Again, you've got a nice intro to yourself. You've got links right off the bat, nice big fat LinkedIn, email, and download resume. That's great. So in terms of the menu, when you put this here, you're indicating that LinkedIn and email and your GitHub are a higher priority than your work resume and about me and publication. So I would take a look at this and maybe think about moving this either into a footer or moving that after this, because we want these to be your focus here as opposed to this. I'm going to go Prochetta and I'm going to run right across that. I'm going to hit these and then I'm going to go to where we actually want. So we want the focus to be on this, obviously. I love the interaction you have here, that you've got these subtle animations. It's too much here. There is so much animation here. I don't know where to look. And it's actually revealing inconsistencies in the design as I watch, because I can see here that the time is jumping from one position to the other. So I would use it the animation here because it's much subtler, and these are more important in terms of what I think you're trying to accomplish than here. Maybe what you can do is, if you want to show off this, do this only on hover, just because this is slower paced, it's calm, right? I can do this, but this is too much noise. And again, that's my opinion, but you got a lot going on there. And then your research projects. So I love the fact that you have research projects. That's really cool, but it's not up here. So your work is just here. If I'm moving really quickly on my screen, right, I was able to see you've got more here. I would definitely add perhaps research up there because that's interesting. Because publication. Okay, so publication takes you down to research project. So about me takes you to a different page. Okay, so I would make sure that your nav structure matches the layout in terms of a flow and use the same language. So if I'm clicking publication, I'm going to be looking for publication down here in the header. So I would probably change that to either research projects, which is pretty big, or actually publications and publications. Now, is there a particular case study you'd like us to take a look at?
Yeah, so before that, can I ask one question?
Sure.
So I was mainly focusing the work and design and animation for the UX design role, like where they ask for more visual skills. So I'm not sure like how I can like make one single and like make overall one header for all of these.
One header for all of the.
I mean like one menu that covers like my work and design and animation, like all the visual stuffs.
Well, I think you've got work, and I think this is really, you got it there. I would probably just move publication before resume, and then make sure that this header is publication as well. Just because that's unusual in terms of seeing a UX design, like you'll see it typically with like really, UX researchers. So if you're looking for a UX designer position, this sets up some conflict in terms of, for a hiring manager, if they're going through, are you a UX designer or a UX researcher? A lot of the times they're the same, but if you're looking at a corporate role or a larger company like a bank, they hire separate roles for that nowadays because the field has gone to the point where we don't want unicorns for some jobs. So what you might want to take a look at is, it's hard, right? I know it's hard. You're starting out and you have to shoot out everywhere, but you might want to take a look at what you want your focus to be and make sure that your site matches that. If you want a UXR position, then UXR, you make this the dominant focus. But if you want to have a UX design position where you are doing some visual design or UI design, then this is interesting. I don't dislike that, but yeah, it's one of those difficult ones. But this is too much. So sorry, what was your visual header? Sorry, I didn't understand that. I didn't answer.
So I was just trying to say, so in terms of like the UX design positions, like I should use like one common menu for all of my work and design and animation, or should I just put one off header like work and put the design and animation onto this? Like.
Oh, okay, yeah, all right. Let me just really quickly take a look at this, just so I can see what the design and animation is. Okay. Oh, okay, you're showing your own site. You don't need to show your own site right there. We're literally looking at it, so we don't need to see that. This is too fast. This is way
so
too fast.
So I have a click. If you click on that, then that will take you to the link. So,
oh, okay. Okay. So UI design. Okay, so this is, you're trying to show your visual skills, your visual design skills here?
Yeah.
Okay. I would probably, okay, let's pick, which of these ones would you like us to take a look at here?
The middle one?
The Alexa AI? Okay.
Yeah.
So, oh, okay. So right there, I would probably, because I clicked on that, I would probably get rid of that zoom and just make it so that you're right here. So this is where you can show off your visual design skills, in here, in the case studies. That's where I would put this.
Yeah, so I have these 3 case studies, and the designer animation, those are mainly all the prototypes and UI designer animations.
Are they part of the case studies as well?
No, they're
Okay.
different than the case studies.
Okay. So do you have some design work that you can show on your case study?
Yeah, all of the case studies, they have their own design. They're
Okay.
the complete projects.
Okay. Then I would say you want to rely on this to show off your design chops, as opposed to adding that there, just because it's very visually jarring. You've got a lot of activity going on. I found it difficult to kind of delve deeper, and you want to be really selective on your portfolio in terms of the content you show. It can be really difficult when you're starting out because you don't have a lot of work, so you kind of throw everything up. You know, we're all guilty of it when we start out. The kind of, I'm going to show them the breadth of my skills. But I think the reality of it is that when someone is looking to hire you, whatever you're showing there isn't going to be exactly what they need, unless you're like literally like really lucky, right? So as a general rule, you're not going to be matching whatever visual style that a company may be hiring for exactly. So if you work on this and use your case studies to show your visual skills, that's fine. You don't need to have a separate section that kind of covers the gamut of everything that you can do. I actually worked at an agency where I argued incessantly with the creative director with this. We had like 3 case studies, they were great. And then he wanted to show every single thing. We had like 40 projects that people could click through. In terms of that, a client would never click through all 40. So I don't know if a hiring manager would click through all of those to go through and read more. I would focus on your case studies and make your case studies as good as they can. So project overview, duration 8 weeks, tools, UX role. Okay, so again, was this a team? Or was this a single project? That would be handy. And again, what were the results? I like this up here, but you do have, you know, me being a little bit of a type snob, we've got a sans serif font where the rest of your site is sans. So just to make sure that you're catching all those little details, if you want to have a font, if you want to have a sans font for a header and sans serif for your body, that's fine. Just make sure that they work together. But because you are using headers here as a sans, and you have another header here that is a serif, that sets up a little bit of confusion and it just doesn't look as neat. So I would definitely pick one font family for a header, one font family for body copy at most. If you can do it all just in one font, even better. Generally 3 fonts at most ever.
Mike, maybe we can go maybe 5 minutes more and then we have
5 minutes
to.
more. Okay, so
Yeah.
faster. Synthesis, okay. So, okay. That was a little confusing. Clicking this, I didn't expect me to take it down there. So now I have to jump back up to scroll. So because you want people to work through this process kind of in flow, I probably wouldn't make this clickable. Problem statement, project goals, great, discover, research questions, secondary market. You've got a lot of text. I would love to see some photographs or images. Maybe start 4 interviews. Yeah. Okay. Can you make this bigger and stand out a little bit more? This is handy to know. Great. So that's awesome. Okay, I see. You've got the focus here. Okay. So actually, no, negate that. This is good. But I would just clean up the layout of this. Make this centered above this as opposed to left aligned. This is great. You've got some survey data, key takeaways, your personas. I'd love to be able to click on those and get them bigger. I'd love to be able to click on this and get it bigger. And also that's one image. So on mobile, this probably won't be legible. Feature ideation. This is really in depth. Okay, I like this. Okay, so this is clickable, but this was not. So let's make that consistent throughout. Feature prioritization. Okay, you're showing, you're really showing the process here. This is awesome. Ideation. Okay, so, okay, now we're getting into Storyboarding. Okay. Is this one image? Okay. So just in terms of the visual design, if you can kind of clean up how you crop these elements, that would be great. And if you can maybe take a look and see if you can reduce, like in Photoshop, and just dial back the background, that would be awesome. These look like photos as opposed to scans. Just so we can get a really crisp photo, if you can scan these instead where it's held flat and we can get rid of all this crinkling. That's not a huge deal, but if you can make them about the same size visually so they're balanced, that would be awesome. Journey map, terrific. That's an image. Yeah, that's gonna be hard to read on mobile. So yeah, you might want to take a look and see if you can make this live text, but that's me being really nitpicky. But in terms of mobile, this is gonna hurt you. So you would want to be able to restructure this for mobile if someone is using that. Okay, prototype, great. And scrollable, okay, nice. Scrollable there as well. Content reading screen, visual design, tap or say Alexa. Yeah, like right here, you're showing off your design chops. This looks nice. This is a well laid out site. So yeah, no, absolutely. Great photos, nice, okay. So if I click on this, does it zoom? Yes, it does. Okay, great. Interactive prototype. Is this an actual interactive prototype? No,
Yeah.
okay, that's fine. News, presentation. Nice, I like the little video there, great. And she looks a little cross-eyed in that photo there. Okay, and awesome, there's your style guide, great. Awesome, no, the content is all there. And okay, you've got your what I learned from here. So did you list any challenges and any problems you ran through? I didn't see those. So that would be great to know in terms of what were some of the constraints, what were issues you encountered. Just because real world projects are always gonna have those. So if you can incorporate that as well, that would be great. Cupcake. Oh, okay. Oh, that's what this is. This is for the next website. Okay. I was wondering what this was the entire time. So I would probably, again, just to keep people focused in on the case study and not to allow them to escape too easily, I would probably move these into the footer as opposed to having these float. And also I'd be worried as to what these do in terms of that. So that basically if someone's going to scan this, once they get down to the bottom, then they can hop over to your next case study. I can't imagine that they would want to be able to click through to your next case study there. And at first I didn't know what this was, GSS website design. And I would, on these, I would offer some details as well. If you move these into the footer, some details as to what your role was, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But again, as with everyone else, some information up at the top, and maybe if you can incorporate some visuals in here just to break up the copy a little bit. And again, I wouldn't link out to these sites. You can reference them. That's great. And even put the hyperlink there. But yeah. And I think that's it. So how are we for time there, Liz?
Yeah, I think we are, we finished now.
Okay.
8:35, we're 5 minutes over the time, but I think everyone enjoyed this. Mike, amazing reviews for everyone, very detailed and a lot of about visual design like we don't have very often here. We normally have more people centered in the UX part of the portfolio, but I really liked your view about the UI too and all the little details. And actually, I will go to my portfolio and work on those too. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Yeah, thank you very much. And guys, remember we have these once per month. So even if you didn't get a space today, you can sign up for the next one. It's going to be in March in some point. Sorry, in February. And yeah, Leticia, do you want to say something else?
Yeah, I wanted to say thank you, Mike, for coming. Thank you for your amazing mind. I really appreciate it. I'm super happy to bring you here. And
Thanks.
And I hope the new portfolio, is up to date. Yeah. for the new adjuncting.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope it was helpful for all of you. Like I said, right now we're in a rough time, right? We've got COVID to deal with, but there is a lot of demand. So it's just getting in there and getting your feet wet. You know, I'm not a fan of spec work by any means, but when you're starting out, if you can help someone out with some UX work, there's open source design is a great resource where literally people who are looking for graphic and UX work, you can take a look there and just donate some of your time for an open source project. And then that'll get you some real world projects that you can put on your portfolio as well.
Yeah. Normally this is going to be one per month, one portfolio review per month, and one white per challenge as well.
Yeah,
Right.
So Mike, if you want to come back someday, just let me know.
All right,
We'll
will
be
do.
happy to have you
It was
again.
fun.
Yeah. Daniel wants,
Nice.
you know.
Yeah, Daniel is waiting for it.
Okay,
Okay, guys.
okay,
See
guys.
you next Wednesday.
See you next Wednesday. Bye.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Great to meet you all.
Thank you very much, Mike.
Bye.
Bye.